Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Roger and Judy Day, who are the founders of ArtsFalmouth and who run Arts Alive, a 3-day festival in Falmouth of arts, music, dance, and more. Roger and Judy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Let's start by explaining what Arts Alive is for people who don't know about it.
Well, Arts Alive is a 3-day festival. It's always held the third weekend in June. There are about 60 performances in 3 tents. There are about 50 vendors and some nonprofits. And a few extras, and it's all free.
Tell me how this event got started. This has been going for a number of years.
Well, the first Arts Alive was actually back in 1972 when the Mass Cultural Council gave money started to give money to the local cultural councils. And it was done then, and then I don't know how long it lasted. And then the Falmouth Artists Guild picked it up. And they ran it for a while as a one-day event with a wet auction. And then it began to change under Marty Tulloch, and then when we took it over, it was mostly demonstrations. When we took it over, we added the vendors and we added all the performances.
Now, you two have been running this for 10 years, and I think there have been some changes over those years. What are the different things you've done?
Well, for a while, particularly when Falmouth had a lot of empty storefronts, we did something called Art in Windows, which was to have painters in the empty storefronts to kind of cover up the fact that the recession was on. This year we're not having that. So it worked for a while, and then we sort of didn't need it. When did we add the town dance? I don't know, second or third year.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 or 3 years after we got started.
And that is a really fun event. Talk about the town dance and how you thought of that and what happens there.
Well, I think the idea was that there's this old New England tradition of a town dance, and we thought, well, we've got a great big tent sitting on the lawn here with a dance floor. Maybe we should do that. And this year we're having the Bart Wiseman group play with Tish Adams as a vocalist. And from 7 to 9 o'clock on Friday night, people just gather and dance and have a good time.
And the event is June 19th to 21st, and I think every year you have some kind of band on that Friday night town dance performance that's really fun to dance to, and you do get people hopping up and dancing.
Well, we've had a couple of blues bands that really tore up the lawn. This year will be elegant, a little more jazzy, and a little less hard-edged than some of the stuff we've done in the past, but I think it's going to be great.
And what are some of the other highlights this year for Arts Alive?
Well, what we started to do about 3 years ago was to have a rock fest on Saturday night. There were many reasons for that, partly to bring the younger people in. And if we put all the rock bands on at once, then they cancel each other out in terms of noise. So that we don't have to worry about them being next to a flautist or flutist in the next tent. So that helps a lot. And this year we actually don't. I think we only have 8 rock bands playing, not 9.
But that seems like plenty. My goodness! And so how do you pick the bands? Do you have some sort of an audition?
Well, all the bands, all the people that perform, they get priority is given to local people, Falmouth people, Sandwich people, Upper Cape people. But we do bring other people in. Some have been with us almost from the beginning. And the woman who used to book the talent, Christine Mascott, she has a rock band.
Groovy Afternoon.
Groovy Afternoon
is the name of the band, yeah.
So she knew all the rock people on the Cape. And so it was very easy for her to get them, and they just have stuck with us.
What are some of the bands that will be playing on Saturday night?
Heartbreaker, Needle Beach, which is actually a new group.
And what are some of the other big events happening? Because I know you have dance and you have things having to do with the arts. And if I recall, the Falmouth Theater Guild gets involved and does a little performance.
Mm-hmm. The Falmouth Theater Guild's doing it. The Woods Hole Theater Group is doing it, too, this year. They've never done it before, so they are going to do selections from Godspell. And we have a lot of singer-songwriters who come and have a good time. And then there's Puffy Elvis, which is always
one of my favorites. One of my favorites.
So this is a band of teachers, Falmouth teachers
exactly.
and administrators, and they've formed a band.
And they have a doo-wop backup line, and they're just terrific. I get the huge kick out of them.
So there are a lot of fans of that band in particular. But you have all kinds of music is just really sort of all day long for 2 or 3 days, music and events, and as you say, it's all free. What are some of the other? There's art going on also, right?
Yes, there is this. We sell arts and crafts, potters, glass people, fabric artists, prints. Not too many paintings, primarily because they're just too high a price point. A lot of jewelers. And then Erica Zuplat does a sketch crawl on Saturday where a group of people just get together and sketch and have a good time.
Now, that sounds like a new event. Is that fairly new?
That was new 2 years ago.
Okay.
Right. The one new event we're doing this year is the Key Project, which is done by Lenore Lyons out of Cotuit Center for the Arts. And it's for all Cape Codders. It's a community event to all come together to use the Key as an inspiration for a collaborative art project. And that's going to be shown in October at Cotuit.
Okay, so the start of that Key project will be at Arts Alive.
I think it has begun. I think we're just one link in the chain. So.
And then there's chalk drawings on the sidewalk, I know. How did that all come about?
Well, there was a fellow in Boston called Sidewalk Sam who used to render great master paintings in chalk. And they were just stunning. And he would just sit on the sidewalk with his chalk, block traffic, and people would detour around him as he would craft these beautiful masterpieces. And I just thought that was such a tremendous kick, So I thought, well, why not? We could do it in Falmouth. We won't have Sidewalk Sam, but we'll have some Falmouth High School art students, and we'll have some art teachers to help them cartoon it and get it ready, and it'd be fun.
And any kid can participate, right? Isn't that part of it? They can jump in. No, they can't.
No.
Okay.
It's done. The cartoons, the thinking in the cartoons are done by a woman named Jean Stewart, and she is from the Artists Guild actually, and she has various high school students who come and do it. I think one year we did have it more free for all and it got a little out of control. So the kids come and some of them do the drawing, actually. She doesn't cartoon them all, but they do the fill-ins and so forth. So.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm talking to Roger and Judy Day, the founders of Arts Falmouth. We've been talking about Arts Alive, but let's take a couple steps back and actually talk about Arts Falmouth. How was this organization started, and what does Arts Falmouth do?
Well, Arts Falmouth was started because it occurred really initially to Judy that the arts community in Falmouth was pretty scattered and often ended up thinking they were competing with each other when they should be cooperating, and that it might be a good idea if we started an organization where everybody could get together, help each other out, support each other, and sort of reduce the level of violence that might ensue when my money was being taken by your organization, et cetera, et cetera.
And some of it was also that people were scheduling things on the same date. Wasn't that happening? And this is a way to sort of prevent that from happening.
Yeah, we started a website with a calendar so that people could plan ahead, could buttonhole a space that would be theirs, or at least everyone knew that they would be competing. And if they weren't competing for the same audience, there's no reason why there shouldn't be many things on the same day, and there often are. But it was started really by the Cape Cod Theater Project, an organization Judy and I were both on the board of at the time, and a bunch of other people who thought it was a good idea. And it has grown. It is now an all-volunteer nonprofit organization, and every arts and culture organization in Falmouth is a member. Lots of individual artists, and a bunch of individuals who just think that more arts is good. And so they're happy to support us.
And besides running Arts Alive, Arts Falmouth runs several other events as well.
We just finished a traditional music stroll in Woods Hole, where we had, 9 different groups?
10, actually.
10 different groups playing in sequence throughout the village. So you could start at the top of the street, and if you didn't like the music, you could move down the street. And it ended with a dance at 8 o'clock that night in the community hall. So it was a lot of fun. It was all acoustic, traditional music, fiddles, guitars, banjos. Different than some of the other festivals we do, which are a little noisier.
Well, of course, you do the Jazz Fest in the fall. Maybe that's your biggest festival.
Well, I don't know if it's the biggest, but it certainly it takes a lot of our energy anyway. Yeah, that's the first weekend in October. And we have a similar stroll on Friday night down through the main street of Falmouth with music in the shops and the restaurants and in the park, Peg Noonan Park on Main Street. That's all free. Everything that Arts Falmouth does is free except for one event, which is the Saturday night concert of the Jazz Festival, where we bring in a well-known, frequently Grammy-nominated or Grammy-winning performer, and we go up to Highfield Theater and have a sort of a proper indoor concert.
So that's the Jazz Fest. Was it called the Trad Stroll that you did in Woods Hole? That was a new event this year. Yeah. And so is Arts Falmouth continuing to sort of come up with new events, or will there be other things?
I think that depends on our energy level.
Right.
But we're always open to new ideas. And all we want is a couple of folks to help us, more hands, It's like any nonprofit organization. You never have quite enough hands.
Now, getting back to Arts Alive, for people who haven't come down to Falmouth for this event, can you give some information logistically? Where do people park? As you said, it's all free. How do people get there? What's the best time to go? What are the hours of it?
Well, on Friday, it's 5 to 9, and it's all music. Saturday, the vendors show up, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. And Sunday, it's 11 in the morning until 5 o'clock. I think that from about 10 o'clock on Saturday until about 2:30 or 3, it's mobbed. We get about 6,000 people that come. Where they park, I honestly don't know.
But there's lots of free parking in Falmouth behind Main Street and near Peg Noonan Park, of course.
And in the school.
Mullen Hall.
There's a school adjacent to where we have the festival.
So I would recommend people come not during that period on Saturday, but come at Sunday is much slower, and it's a lovely feel to Sunday. I love Sunday. It's not crazy like Saturday.
But obviously, as we said, plenty of parking. It's free, and you can come, and there'll be things going on. And of course, Falmouth has lots of restaurants, and people can get lunch and enjoy some of the things going on.
There's also a kids tent. That will have activities for kids. This year it's being run by the Children's Workshop up in Bourne. And there's plenty for kids to do, and there's free balloons and face painting and all of those kinds of things. So, people should bring kids. Feel free to bring kids.
For people who want more details on this, do you have it all on your website? Do you have the whole schedule and all the details, or where do they find out that information?
It's on artsfalmouth.org, and the whole schedule of the performances and everything will be up.
And as people can look at that and figure out what they want to see and when they want to go. But really, if they go any time during Friday evening, as you say, Saturday all day, Sunday, they can find things going on the library lawn in the center of the village. And if they want to get tickets early for Jazz Fest, it's probably, because I think that does sell out every year, that Saturday night performance.
Knock on wood. Yes. We've had good luck the last few years. There's a site called jazzfestfalmouth.org, and tickets will go on sale in August.
Anything else to add about Arts Falmouth besides that you'd like some more volunteers and people to help out, and anything else to add about Arts Alive?
Well, I think we've covered Arts Alive pretty well.
Well, I'm really excited about the town dance and having Tish Adams do the vocals. I think that's going to be terrific.
Yeah, agreed.
This is a really fun event. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I've been talking to Roger and Judy Day, founders of Arts Falmouth. Thank you both so much for being with me here today.
Oh,
thank you.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.